White House. I want to stay on this topic, bring in former Arkansas governor and host of Fox News' Huckabee, Mike Huckabee. Also with us is Todd Schoenberger. He is Land Colt Capital managing partner. Good to see you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Maria.
Governor, what's your observation here?
Well, it's just amazing that the president did something that he said just a couple of years ago that he didn't have the power to do. Now, either he was lying then, he's lying now, or the law got rewritten and no one told any of us, and he's the only person who got the message. It is an outrage against the Constitution and, most importantly, an outrage against the people of America who deserve better than having a president who just ignores the law and thumbs his nose at it.
What can the Republicans do at this point?
Well, I think they need to scream bloody murder. I don't think they're going to go and impeach him because that's a messy process that people would, I think, reject. But they ought to start cutting down on everything they can in terms of using the power of the purse, which is their constitutional duty and authority. And perhaps a lawsuit is in order. Right? It's hard to figure out exactly who they sue, how they sue. But I think they need to pull every tool out of the toolbox to try to stop what is a runaway president.
Todd Schoenberger, in terms of the impact on markets and the economy, do you see any?
Well, you're speaking of the political argument, so let's look at the economic argument. It's actually very good news for Wall Street for a number of reasons. One, when you look at companies now, they always ran the risk of deportation for some lower skilled employees, so now you don't have to worry about that. That would keep companies efficient. That helps the bottom line. Also, now you also have this big community of people that are coming in that can fill those low skilled jobs. That's also good for the bottom line. Plus, these people will have to look for living, for shelter. So where are you going to? You can go to a bank now. You can actually obtain that loan. Look, the economic impact of this, I get the political argument of it. That makes sense. But the economic impact is actually a positive. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing so well today.
But we can't sacrifice our Constitution, our way of government, just to help some people who got here illegally. Okay. There are Americans who don't have jobs. There are Americans who can't find work. And the idea of pushing labor to a lower cost means that a lot of Americans are pushed into a low-wage pool rather than to be able to have a shot to put bread on the table.
I understand what you're saying. However, with that said, though, it is also the White House. Why is it the administration? The job opportunities, they haven't been there. So what's the administration been doing all along anyway? Look, we're adding 5 million people here. They've already been here. Look, this is a clear political argument.
I'm questioning this, though. I'm questioning this because you're talking about 5 million illegals who, up until now, who have been getting paid under the table by cash. They have not been paying taxes. What's to say that they're actually going to say, oh, okay, the president had an executive order. I think I'm going to come clean. I'm going to come out of the shadows. In fact, I am going to pay taxes. I'd rather get paid what I was getting paid, but give half to the government. Do you think that's really going to happen?
No, it's not going to happen. I think what the GOP wants to concentrate on, though, right now, they're focused on this one policy move. We're 2 weeks removed from the midterm elections. You have to wonder what's next. I mean, this is going to be 2 years of this. This is the first step. I mean, you have to agree to this. The economics, though, do make sense. So that is a good sign. But the politics of it, I understand. I completely get your argument. Well, but this is just the start of things to come for the next couple of years.
You talk about Wall Street. If I were on Wall Street today, I'd be investing in Little Caesars Pizza because they get the image of Barack Obama on the box, the new Little Caesar. That's what he has become. You just can't govern outside the law. My gosh, I wish I had known I could have done that.
So what does this mean for January with the new Congress coming in? Will anything get done, or is Todd right that in the next 2 years, this is what it's going to be, fighting between the two parties?
Well, it's been that way because the president doesn't know how to lead. He's never governed. He's never built relationships. He goes out and demonizes the other side and then can't imagine why they won't sit down with him and make peace. This is not going to happen. Look, the best thing that happened is that Republicans will at least hold both houses of Congress. They will send things to him. He will veto it. But the American people will finally understand that they don't have a president who leads. They've got a person who, for some reason or another, believes he has been elected to be the emperor of the United States. A position that, last time I checked, we don't even have.
Real quick, how much of this is the fact that the president sees this as a crisis, needed to get this done now, immediately, and how much is it, I just want to poke in the eye of the Republicans because I just lost in the midterms?
If this was a big crisis, he could have done it when he had both houses of Congress. He had Democrats running the House and the Senate, never lifted a finger. This is raw politics, and it stinks to high heaven.
Governor Todd, stay with me. A lot to talk about with you both. I want to get your take on the China rate cut, Todd, because I believe that that's why this market's rallying and non-immigration. But we'll talk about that coming up next. We've got a market that is up 150.